This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
Welcome back to the show. We are joined by our friend Anthony Yannotta, and if you haven't met him, well, you're in for a surprise. He really is, I'm going to say gifted, I'm going to say chosen, in a sense, with a higher power, and he'll explain that to you. And he spends his life here, of course, he's a great father, right, with his family, but really is just here to really help you. If you're listening today, this could be the day that you could really, learn something valuable from someone who genuinely has, I could say, a connection, to the other side. And he's here to do good, and he could help you on your journey, your path of life. So, Anthony, please welcome to the show and tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, and we'll get started as we always do.
Well, yeah. Good morning, Jill. It's great to be back here. And thank you so much for that introduction. It's interesting because last week you started off by saying, tell us a little bit about who Anthony is. And my response was, hey, I'm just a regular guy. Okay.
I'm just a guy.
But it's
I'm
funny.
a dad. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Right. But I left a couple of parts out, and it's funny because we all have this potential, what I'm about to explain. It's not something that makes anybody, more gifted than anybody else. We all have gifts. And we're all just living our regular everyday lives, raising our children, going to work. But there's more to us. And I've had certain experiences happen to me in life that have helped me uncover those parts of myself. And so during the day, I'm basically building a neighborhood. I'm building a neighborhood that's going to end up being almost 400 homes, all the roads, all the curbing, doing all the earthwork. But to give you an example, there's a difference between somebody who is just existing, which I would consider maybe somebody who's not completely awakened to all their gifts. And that happens in gradual stages, and we awaken more and more as time goes on. But then once we really truly get to know who we are, that's when I consider it living. And so what I'd like to explain is, after I get done at work, last Friday, I got a phone call from a young woman who she had a lot of pain in her stomach, and she thought it was, maybe contributed to her cycle, but she's saying this is just a little bit too much for that. And so I was able to meet with her, and I laid my hands on her stomach, and I saw a witch literally strangling her like intestines. And if that part of the body is like, it's our power center. It's the area of our body that holds our power, helps us to move forward in life. And it seemed as if somebody was just trying to hold her back. Okay. And I politely asked the witch to leave, and she didn't. So I removed her. I'll put it nicely. And she became ashes after that. And then I found a snake kind of making its way around this young girl's waist. And I said to it, so are you going to come to the light? And it said, I'd rather be ashes. And I said, as you wish. Okay. So I know this kind of sounds a little crazy, but
No, but it's good crazy. It's real crazy. Things
good,
are crazy
it's
to people
good,
that don't,
real crazy.
but it's real.
Okay.
Go ahead.
This is real. Okay. And the dark has been trying to keep us distracted for a long time in so many different ways. But I realized one of my gifts is to literally remove it completely without mercy, so that heaven can come to earth, so we can have it, we can experience it individually and then as a whole. And, that type of stuff, I don't think it really ever had a purpose. I know I've been through things in life that have helped me uncover parts of myself. And I'm like, okay, there's the light and dark of God that helps us to grow. But then there's other stuff that
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of. And I'm not trying to call it anything other than it just doesn't belong and it needs to go. And after that happened, this young woman literally, I mean, she was in bed, I think I was told for about 18 hours. She didn't want to move. She didn't want to get up. She didn't want to eat. And after that was over, she literally got up out of bed, felt brand new, had all of her energy back. And so what I'm really wanted to get through to people today is we really need to take serious our lives, what we
Yeah.
do. How did she open the door for something like that to come in?
Mm-hmm.
And it's just something as simple as like the saying, like, you know, whoever is the goat. Okay. Like I see that as like devil energy. And now everybody's like calling each other it and inviting it in. And I'm like, no, like, same thing I mentioned in the past, the dirt devil vacuum. Like I will never bring a dirt devil vacuum into my house. I don't even know if they still make them. But I remember years ago, I was talking to my grandma about it, and I'm like, oh, heck, I'm not letting that come in my house. Like, no way. And it's interesting, but if we really just take a step back and look at what we're doing, there's such a rush in life, right? It's like hurry up and get here and get there, and we have to be this and be that. And, this poor young girl's just under stress. She has school work that needs to be done. She needs to get to school. She's trying to take care of herself. She's
Yeah.
doing really well, but this outside force, and it was almost like she maybe or probably shared her success with somebody that
Mm-hmm.
wasn't really happy for her. And that's how the energy kind of manifested. So it's interesting, how we live our lives each day and who we really get to meet and speak with is really important. And when you have that kind of funny feeling, or you just don't get that, you just don't get that, like, that sense of calm when you're speaking with somebody, that's a sign. And our bodies really try and scream at
Mm-hmm.
us like so loud, like whatever you're doing is not okay. And like this very subtle ways at first, but eventually it gets real loud, like that young woman had experienced. Or even myself in life. I was so stubborn and so convinced that I knew at one time, like what I was doing. Okay. It was like that I was shown the complete opposite. We can try and take charge of our lives, but at the same time, we have to surrender them to a higher power and allow that higher power to lead us. All right. I remember Jesus said, follow me, right? I think he was trying to explain, like, like listen and follow me, obey. Like he was so connected to it, his father, that they were one. And I
Mm-hmm.
saw that for myself when I had my near death experience, because his face would change between two men, and I knew the other man was his father. And with each breath that we take, we have the opportunity to really let go of, the disruptions, the distortion, the hubbub of whatever. And when we spoke a couple of weeks ago, you had mentioned during that meditation, you had felt this like overwhelming peace, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I
Something I don't
mentioned,
feel too
you
often,
know,
but yes. Uh-huh.
yeah, right. But that was something that I was opening up inside you, that exists within you. And I explained it briefly, last time. But because of the experience I had, I got to experience heaven in my bedroom. And that activated something inside me that allows me to do the same for others. And when darkness sees that happen, it kind of just runs. Um, well, no, it doesn't kind of just run, it runs.
Mm-hmm.
And if it doesn't, I mean, if it doesn't, I just remove it and it's gone. It's not even something that's hard. It's something that is simple for us to do if we can truly understand who we are and understand the power that exists within us. Because since last Friday, that young woman has been flourishing. And, whether it was something she invited in or something from an outside force, whatever it was, it certainly wasn't her. And we all deserve to live free of that. And, there were parts of myself that I thought years ago were, maybe the right thing to do. But my entire journey was mostly based around me learning how to love myself and take care of myself because I was so often like exhausting myself for the lives of others and doing good and thinking that that was wonderful. And it was, don't get me wrong, but not at the expense of my own health and my own soul. So there's a few different aspects of how all this can work, and we have our own journey. But
Yeah.
when it comes to understanding like right from wrong or what's good or bad, I don't think it's hard for people to
Mm-hmm.
figure it out. I mean, when you take a step back and really reflect, it's like, is that really the right thing to do? And so taking that moment for ourselves is really honoring who we are. It's honoring a greater power, a higher power, the source of all creation. And that same thing happens when we meditate and when we spend time with ourselves and getting to know us so that we can move through life and make choices that are more aligned with us. Um, a priest had mentioned to me about a week or so ago, he said, "Oh, wow, you got to," he said that he had been in certain places on earth and he was able to feel heaven. And I said, "Oh, that's wonderful." I said, "I felt the same thing." And he said, "Well, what does heaven feel like? What did it feel like to you?" So I wrote this back to him and I wanted to just share it. I wrote, "Heaven is a place filled with such overwhelming love that words don't exist to accurately describe it." I said, "It's a place where your ability to think doesn't exist." I said, "A place where people from all over can come together, and regardless of language, somehow we all understood and still understand one another." I said, "Heaven is a place where peace ripples like a near still wave of water
Mm-hmm.
throughout everyone's heart. And that heaven exists within all of us. And when we come to it within ourselves, the Our Father, like it comes to life. And when we can learn to live from that authentic space within us for
Mm-hmm.
whoever we are, as we were designed, which is all completely different, right? And we're all complementing one another. So, there's not one right way to get there other than going inside and getting to know you. And that's what I'm trying to teach. And when you can live from that place, life just transforms around you. I mean, it is so beautiful. Things that normally could have maybe been, maybe not such a great outcome, like everybody's fine, everything's cool. You go through all these changes in life and you're like, how the heck is this helpful?
How
And then you realize,
exactly?
right? And then like I ended up having to move because my landlord didn't want to fix the septic like for
Uh,
3 months. And I'm just like, okay, I'm done. Like, thank you so much
yeah.
because I am finished. And it directed me to a new home. And I
Perfect.
feel so wonderful there. And it is so nice. And my kids have so much room. And I think I mentioned earlier, I'll be able to hold meditations there and have private rooms for like crystal bed healings. And I want to get a sauna so people can do that too. And hold classes of maybe a dozen or maybe 18, and teach meditation. And it's like, this is perfect. All right. But that couldn't appear in my life unless I had made the changes or done that work inside myself. And, you know, even recently, like that young woman has brought me to a place too,
Mm-hmm.
because I was like, wait a minute. Here I am telling Jill, like, yeah, I'm just a regular guy. And that's true. But at the same time, it's like, wait a minute. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm doing what I need to do during the day to take care of my
Yeah.
family. And everyone's like, but I have to work and I got to pay my bills. Like, how am I going to have time to meditate? Or how am I going to do that too? And I'm just saying, like, you have to have faith because it just all works out. When it's not your plan, nothing can go wrong. And my faith has really grown. I mean, to such a degree that um, I don't worry about a thing. I don't need to. There's nothing to worry about, nothing at all. And all that fear, was it real anyway, Joe? It's like, when you're
Yeah.
a kid and you're like, I'm afraid to get on that roller coaster, right? And then you get on and you have a blast, and then you're running to get back in line. And it's like, wait a minute, where did that fear go? Was it even real to begin with? You know? So across the board in our entire lives, like where is that really leading us? And I ended up speaking to that young woman again last night, and I started to express some of the things that were coming up for me that she had helped me
Mm-hmm.
with, because I wanted to say thank you to her. Because this life isn't anything like this isn't a one-way street. Okay,
Nope.
we're all working together to help one another grow, and if we can come from that place and see that, man, can it really transform your life. And you know these past couple of weeks, energy's really been pushing people forward. And from what I hear, I don't get involved too much with astrological stuff. Like, all the planets are moving forward, they're all moving direct. So wherever you are in life, hold on, because it's ready to literally propel you forward, or everybody. And depending on where we are, we're going forward anyway. So if you're carrying a lot of stuff, you're going to be dragging it with you, or whatever. It's like a, little expression of it. But if you're ready, truly
Yeah.
ready, like, it's a blessing after blessing after blessing. And it's not necessarily easy to get to that place, but it is so worth it, because that feeling inside, that peace within, is not something that you have to be like experiencing every once in a while, Jill. It's something that it's a place you can live from on a daily basis. And so, with that being said, since that experience, have you had anything happen to you over the past couple of weeks? Changes moving forward? Are things finally kind of turning around in your life, like in a better way? I know there was a lot of stuff
Well,
happening, still
yeah,
getting
the
fixed, and you were
flood, the
like,
this,
I'm
that.
sleeping,
Well,
you
we're
know.
still on the couches. That is the truth. The good news is it's been a slow process. We had a flood in the house. If, for those that don't know, the pipes burst, but it was very cold since
Mhm,
December, so we've been on the couch. But they finally they sheetrocked my
mhm.
son's room. They sheetrocked the garage. I had the garage floors done last week. They're coming the end of this week to do the moldings and finish the
Nice.
electric, so I could start now unpacking all the stuff that the company that took my stuff that didn't do what they're supposed to do. That's half molded and half not. It's in my yard, it's in my house, it's all wrapped up. But
Mhm,
so
mhm.
it's a slow process, but I feel better. And like today, I have a contractor coming to assess the steps. So now, in order to finish the upstairs of my son's bedroom, we have to do the floors upstairs, which aren't done, and the floors lead into the hallway, which leads to the steps. So I've been
Mhm.
going back and forth trying to get estimates on who's fixing them and what. So today, that guy's coming. So I'll have another plan in place soon to start with the steps. Once the steps are done, then I can do the top floor. So it's been a slow process, but I feel good. I feel like it's getting done. But
Yeah.
it's not. Also, I got a car since my car got totaled. So that
Mhm.
was 3 months, 2 months ago, 2.5 months ago. So finally got that figured out. So it's a slow
Nice.
process, but I'm feeling more on the up and up, which is good. But
That's
obviously
good.
slower than I like. But I'm hoping by, and I keep saying this, but I'm going to say by the end of the summer, everything's done. Got to give yourself some more wiggle room there because it's been
Yeah.
2 months already. But I'm like, it could be another 2, 3 months, which is okay. It's everything happens for a reason, so I feel good about it. I really
Absolutely.
do. Yeah, but
Absolutely. Well, that's wonderful.
thank you for
Eh,
asking.
Yeah. And so, kind of like I was saying, things are finally kind of moving along for you, falling in place. Things are finally getting done.
Yeah.
Yes, it may not happen as fast as we would like sometimes, but from what I was able to see, is it's not necessarily patience that you need to have. You're going through a fairly uh, like major transformation. When water comes in through your ceiling, I see it as the Holy Spirit coming in through you as a cleansing.
Well, thank you.
Okay. So then now your entire life kind of goes like this, right? All over. And now all the pieces that didn't belong have fallen away. And it's not that you had fallen apart. It's just that now everything that wasn't supposed to be there is kind of slowly making its way away from you. And you're getting to know more of your true self. So in your own special way, you're doing the same thing or going through the same process that I was explaining earlier. And you're doing it with grace because when you speak about it, I don't feel that like, oh, I got to wait for this contractor or this is still happening. You're very grateful for, what you've been through, understanding about it, know that it's okay.
Yeah.
And, you get to spend time with your kids
Yeah, it's
that
right. Well,
you don't really
it's
get
funny you
back,
said
right?
that
I
because I
mean,
spoke to someone last night and they're like, why didn't you just get the carpets on the steps again? Why didn't you do this? And, you're just placing your children like this, and that's more important. I said, they're fine. I said, before the flood, we were on the
yeah,
couches, and he's trying to tell me that, well, you should just do it the quick way. I'm like, I want to do it the right way. And if it's going to take,
yeah,
excuse me, if it's going to take extra long, I'm okay with that. So he's telling me I should do everything the half-ass way, right? To get it
hmm
over with quick.
hmm
So I said, my kids are fine. Like, people just want to come in and judge and try to take your space and try to know, no, that's not how it's working. We're going to take our time with this. And we are not this place. We're enjoying the couches. So it's not like we're
yeah,
that upset over it, but everyone's so quick to judge, right? But I'm
yeah,
happy with my slow transition, and I'd rather do it the right way because then it would have to be done again in the future one time. Maybe more money to
absolutely.
do now, but it'll be worth it in the end. So I don't have to replace carpets again in 10 years when they get gross and old. I'll pay a
Sure.
little more money now to do it with the vinyl planks. It's safer, it's cleaner. Well, I don't say safer, but it's cleaner, it's better for my kids and the pets. So I'm like, yeah. So I'm looking at it as an investment, it's a new, exciting part of my life, and some people don't think that. Just do it the same way. And
No.
I'm like, I don't want it the same way. Why do you need
Well,
new doors? I'm like, because now the door jambs are 30 years old, so let them now. It's becoming a bigger project. I understand that, but if the house is
yeah,
30 years old and the door jambs are all busted up a little bit, and you can paint them and fix them, you can still see it. Now let's just replace the doors, even though it's an expense. Let's do it now. It has to be done at some point. So, yeah, yeah. But
sure.
thank you for letting me
And
vent.
that's really wonderful and a great example of staying centered, honoring yourself. You know, People are always trying to help in their own strange way, and I've done it myself. Like, and I've learned to really step back and allow people to go through their own process. But even as a contractor, in the past, I've said,
Oh,
why
whoa.
don't you do
My
this or
light
do
just went
that?
out. Did you see that? Ooh, it's
Oh no,
something, your energy, the light just went out. That's
that's
weird.
fine.
Yeah.
Well,
Ooh.
is it turning back on?
No, it's not. That was spooky, but
Oh,
okay.
well, we'll probably
What'd you
you'll be getting a new light soon. All right.
do?
You know,
Thanks.
the funny thing I just heard is like mm, there's a spark that's coming back, like an original spark is kind of the feeling that I just got. So maybe you'll get a new light there and it'll have another spiritual significance for you as well, which will be great.
Thanks.
That's funny.
I'm like, why isn't it? Up,
But
back.
it's
It's
back,
you. It's your
right?
energy. I'm sorry, but yes. Mm-hmm.
That's all right. That does happen. When I use Bluetooth speakers and I start to meditate, the
Oh,
speakers go out. I have to use wire. So I interrupt the signal from it as I open my heart. But getting back to staying centered as we get all this advice from people, um, they're trying to help in their own special way, and we're grateful for that. But we also have to take a step back and be like, okay, what do I really want to do? And
yeah.
it's you're doing what you need to do for you, and that's wonderful. And it's about quality, not quantity, and it's about quality, not the speed of things. And that quality of life reflects back to
Yeah.
you in all ways. So, with that being said, the quality of your future is much brighter, um, much happier, much less stressful, and you're definitely moving in the right direction. So I appreciate you sharing all that because it really helps me to explain myself and then proves again, like together, we're showing how everyday life and spiritual life can come together and be lived as one. It's not something that's impossible for the average everyday
Yeah.
person because I'm still out
Exactly.
here in the dirt
Oh,
working today. Put a clean shirt on and I'm on the air, right? So, if anybody would like to reach out to me, they can through my website, synchronicityhealthandwellness.com. My phone number is 908-963-7317. And you're welcome to send me a text. And you can also reach out to me through my website and contact me on my contact page. But Jill, if there's anything else, let me know. But I just thank you again for another awesome show, and always appreciate the time we have. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Same here. I appreciate you. And wow, great conversation always, right? I wouldn't expect anything less, Anthony. And thank you for sharing your thoughts today and insight and helping me too, helping our listeners and viewers. But thank you for helping me too, right? It's okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
everything's gonna be fine. Positive on the
everything's
way,
good.
right?
Everything's good.
All
Yep,
right. Thank you
absolutely.
again, sweetheart.
100%.
Enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll talk again next week. Bye,
All right.
Anthony.
Thanks again. Take
Thank
care.
you.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.